What's up, dudes? Spaz here. Welcome to my channel. I have a sniper build for you guys, and I apologize. It's taken me a while to get this up. I've had some issues with Payday 2, and I don't know if it was the actual game or if it was related to some display driver issues I've had since I had that debacle with Watch Dogs and basically taking off all the old drivers on my machine. I'm not sure, but I think I've figured out a workaround so we can do this. So I want to go ahead and show you this sniper build, jump into the skill tree, maybe show you a couple different variations of this build, show you my loadouts because I run with a couple different ones, and then talk to you guys about why I've decided to return to Payday while you watch a little bit more of this build in action. I have linked 2 videos so far, or posted 2 videos so far, showing this build that I will link at the end of the video, making it a more complete build process. So, let's jump into the skill trees. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It's been a while, hasn't it? Okay, now this sniper build, when I picked up the sniper pack, the first thing I picked up on was that these sniper rifles come with very minimal ammo, and rather than be a burden on my lobby hitting the ammo bags all the time, I decided to create a build that, well, I could run with the sniper rifle as the primary and basically use it as often as I can because I love these sniper rifles and I really love the R93, but also have a secondary that I could kind of mob or mow down hordes and then collect ammo. So obviously we needed to get fully loaded, aced out. And then my other main skill to focus on with this build was Inspire because I do love that skill, especially on anything overkill and above, a lot of cloakers, friends going down. And in order to play an aggressive recon kind of like I enjoy playing as, Inspire's nice because you can run between different areas of cover, shout, revive, get a few shots off. It's one of my favorite skills, and in doing so, I'm going to grab Kilmer, and I'll explain while I do that. So let's just go ahead and do the Mastermind tree first, and then we'll go into the Enforcer because those are the 2 biggest trees in this build. So we obviously need our med bag. Then we're going to ace out Endurance. Nothing wrong with a little bit more stamina. Ace out Combat Medics so that when we revive people, they have more health coming back up. Cable ties, ace those out. Got to have crowd control. Really enjoy being able to move hostages. There's a lot of features in this game that they've added since I've taken a break that I wish were there from the beginning, or I wish they had added those from the start. Leadership. Now, ace this out. I want to talk about this just very briefly. I was having some difficulties with the sniper rifle to start, and I couldn't figure out what it was. A lot of it dealt with mouse sensitivity, but part of it was understanding how stability affects sniper rifles, and stability is actually pretty big if you are a stickler for visual recoil. I'm going to show you a comparison, a screenshot here of an R93 at its peak recoil, or at the height of its recoil, without stability and with stability perks. It's not noticeable per se. I mean, it is noticeable for me because I've been playing FPSs for so long. I can pick up on weird visual recoil. But when you slow it down, you can notice just how much more time it takes for your rifle to settle back on target if you have 0 stability skills. Not like it's a big thing with this build because, well, we would have had to have picked it up anyways climbing up this tree, but I wanted to point that out. If anybody is testing these sniper rifles and they aren't necessarily spec'd in anything with stability, or you don't necessarily put any priority to stability attachments on your weapons, keep it in mind because it might help out. Then from there, we're going to ace out Dominator. Now, originally I had bought the basic of this, but it wasn't until my buddy Winged reminded me that the increase in your intimidation, the power of your intimidation, or that range as well, is actually really nice because with this build, I like to convert enemies and use them as fodder. More targets to soak up rounds that would be normally coming towards me, a good thing. And I'd originally had it on basic, but I noticed as soon as I aced it out just how more often I could get the enemy to submit. Okay, then from there, let's keep in mind how many more skill points we have to spend in order to get to the next tier. We need 9 more. So I am going to spend obviously 4 in Joker so that we can convert whoever we dom, and then 4 points in Combat Doctor and 1 point in Spotter. This is a nice skill, and I've talked about this in a lot of videos. Anything that increases your damage to special enemies, pick it up. 15%, add that up with how many special enemies you might kill in a heist. It adds up over time. I think it's an important skill. But the reason I only got the basic combat doctor is because I kind of had to compromise on this build because I wanted Kilmer. And rather than ace out the med bags and spend, 36, 40 points in the last 3 tiers, I said, nah, I have to budget a little bit better because I want to spread out a little more. So that's why I went with the basic. It can be a pain. Obviously, I wouldn't do that on anything like Death Wish, but on Overkill, if you're playing with a lobby that understands not to patch up prior to going black and white, you should just be just fine with basic bags. But like I said, I do ace out Kilmer. Now, the reason I ace this out, obviously, increases reload speed. First of all, the basic of it. Some of these sniper rifles, in particular the 50 cal, reload rather slow. The basic increase the reload speed, but more importantly, acing it out, being able to run and reload while playing as an aggressive recon really complements the tempo that you can attain with this build. Rather than having to find cover, wait that 3, maybe 4 seconds, depending on which rifle you're using to reload. Well, I'm out of rounds. Start the reload, running to cover, finish loading that mag, back out of cover, back at it. Love Kilmer. And then, like I said, ace out Inspire so that we can shout revive teammates. Let's jump into Enforcer. I feel like I'm taking up your entire week in this video. In Enforcer, like I said, the main focus is to pick up fully loaded, and we're going to stop there in this variation of the build. So in order to get there, what I would do, I pick up the med bag, or the ammo bag, obviously, ace out Transporter. Fun fact about Transporter, we were playing Firestarter Death Wish the other week, and the reason we kept failing the contract was because of me. I was the only person in the lobby that did not have Transporter aced out, and being that slow while moving things like weapons or gold or heavier loot, some of these contracts, it can bite you in the ass, even if it's only one person that doesn't have it. Love Transporter. I think it's an absolute must-have skill for any build. Then from there, we're going to ace out Die Hard so we get a little bit faster armor recovery. And then pay attention to the trees as we move up. We've unlocked this. We need to spend another 9 to get to the next tier. I'm going to ace out Stun Resistance, screw the Flashbangs. Another 5 points. We're going to spend 4 here. Now, this is one variation of the build. I personally run with a shotgun as a secondary. If you're not running with a shotgun, you might want to dump the skills maybe in another skill set rather than waste them on a weapon you're not going to be using. But I typically run with the shotty. So I'm going to ace out Shotgun Impact to get that 35% increase in damage with my shotties. I need to spend 1 more point to open up the next tier. So we are going to spend it on Underdog, so that when you're surrounded by 3 or more enemies, you receive a 15% damage bonus. Actually a pretty big skill when you think about it, how many times you might get overrun. Then from there, 9 more points. If I were doing a shotgun build, I would dump the 4 points in shotgun CQB, which I kind of typically run with, so I'm going to dump 4 into there. Then from there, I need to spend another 5 points. I'm going to go ahead and finish an ace out Underdog. That's going to give us a reduction in damage that we receive when we're surrounded by enemies. Then we need to spend 2 more points. I'm just going to dump 1 into Oppressor, a little bit more threat with our weapons, and then I'm going to dump 1 more into Tough Guy to reduce camera shake when taking fire. And lo and behold, we have fully loaded unlocked, so let's ace that out, and we're good to go. Notice as we ace that out, we also unlocked the Tier 6 bonus of 30% more health. A lot of people have been complimenting or commenting on these latest sniper builds of how the hell are you staying alive. A lot of it has to do with some of these tier bonuses, but as you see when we get into this ghost tree here, we're going to get some movement bonuses, some increased dodge here. So ghost tree, get the ECM, and then we need Sprinter, big skill, being able to run faster. We're going to play a little bit of aggressive recon. Ace out Fast Hands, being able to interact with loot faster, never wrong. Ace out Chameleon. Now, the reason I'm acing out Chameleon is because more often than not, I'm running with the light ballistic vest. I'm not running with any sort of armor. And, well, if I'm playing a medic as well, I'm shout reviving people. If I'm running around, playing aggressive, it's kind of nice to have some of your crew members absorb some of that damage or you being targeted less often. If you're in a lobby that is struggling with staying alive, or if you decide to not go into Inspire, it's kind of a dickish move to make all your teammates take all the damage if you're not going to be able to heal them or revive them. Pay attention to the tiers, because in this build, all I'm trying to do is unlock the tier 4 bonus. Need to spend another 5 points. I would typically, this is what I just do with my build, because none of these skills to me, they're all right. Another variation that you could do, let's go ahead and respec this. Get Sprinter back, get Fast Hands back, get Chameleon back. You can simply get Cat Burglar, which is nice, being able to jump from a little bit higher ledges and not go down, playing a little bit more of aggressive. I think Big Bank, this has saved me a couple times when I've run with this variation. Jumping through that window really helped. Let's see, one more point, and then you can just dump one. Go ahead and deal 5% more to special enemies. And there you have the Tier 4 Ghost bonus, which is when wearing armor, your movement speed is 15% less affected. That is actually 25% less affected. So if you are going to run with a build that features heavier armor, Ghost bonuses are huge. Ghost bonuses are huge, especially when you go to Tier 3. Your chance to dodge is increased by 10%. Time swapping weapons, 20%. If I had more skills, and in some of my future builds, this bonus here on the Ghost tree, time swapping weapons is reduced for you by 80%. Depending on your loadout, that might go a long way. So then from there, we have 9 more points to spend. And my typical go-to now having experimented with this a little bit more, I ace out Rifleman. Now, a lot of people have been confused as to why I choose the Surgeon sight over the standard or the stock sight or scope on the rifle. First reason, it's too big. It's way too big, and it clogs up way too much of the peripheral. So I knew that, excuse me, my phone. I knew that that was a problem, so I said, well, I like the Surgeon sight, and I always have on a lot of my weapons. So how can I increase the zoom a little bit? Remember, Rifleman. Ace it out, weapon zoom increased by 25%. It's not a necessity. You might, find it better to dump money into Nerves of Steel to get your steel sight when you are in bleed out. But I like to have that 25% increased zoom. I've run with the Surgeon sight without this, and it's not too bad. I think the last bank heist that I did, the crew down 39, I ran without this bonus. And then from there, the last 4 points go into Sharpshooter, because you can't go wrong with Sharpshooter. 20% more accurate with all single shot weapons. I've done a video on that, demonstrating just how drastic that 20% really narrows your spread. And then stability, as I touched on in the start of this video. Now let me show you a variation of this. If you want to run, if you're struggling with the sniper rifle and find that you need more help with the secondary, obviously I would advise you to try out the shotguns, because they are more one of the more simple weapons to use. So if you are struggling with the sniper rifle and you need a more potent secondary, go ahead and wipe out the Technician tree, leave the Ghost tree as it is, go back to Enforcer, dump 4 points into Overkill, okay? That way you are going to proc it, get that 75% increase in damage after the first enemy you kill, really helps out. And then you could just spend your last 5 points right here on Rifleman or Nerves of Steel. Another variation to this build that's a lot of fun that I've run with, rather than a shotgun, what you would do, instead of speccing into these shotgun perks, I would do it, but I'm running out of money. Like I said earlier, dump them into some other skills, and then you could, instead of spending the points into Cat Burglar or even in Cleaner, I would leave the one in Cleaner, but you could ace out SMG Specialist, and with fully loaded, aced out, running around with the MAC-10 or some sort of SMG where you just blast through hordes, doesn't even matter about your accuracy. All you're using that secondary for is to retrieve ammo. It can be a lot of fun. So those are the different variations, some different options you have with the skill tree. Let me go ahead and go through the inventory just really quick, because I feel like I've taken up 5 hours of your time. Primary, I'm going to run typically with the R93. I don't like any of the barrels. Sometimes the short barrel kind of looks cool, but it really does take away from your accuracy. Guess it does add disability. Maybe I'll try it again. Maybe I just talked myself into that. Never been a fan of angled sight. I wish these weapons had just stock iron sights, but they don't. The problem with the angled sight, I don't know if you guys have picked up on this, but you get a lot of visual blur when aiming down the sights with that, and I just never really liked it. I don't like the wooden body. I like it when it's in the inventory. I think it looks good in inventory, but as soon as it gets into game, there's a weird, it comes out orange and not red. Secondary, one of my new favorite weapons, the Street Sweeper, part of the DLC. Go ahead and load buckshot into that. I haven't unlocked the suppressed barrel. Wouldn't be using it anyways. I go ahead and throw on the long barrel for a little bit more accuracy, stability. Don't worry about concealment with this build. Shark teeth. And no sights. I don't like running with sights on my shotguns. As I said, the different variations. For the primary, I typically either run the R93 or if not, I like to run the 50 cal from time to time. I've been trying out the CQB barrel just because it's really fun to sprint up and just point that tiny, odd-looking weapon into a cop's face and know that it's going to basically kill them. But I wouldn't advise it for the accuracy penalty. Grip, rubber grip, increase the accuracy, and then sight. More often than not, I tried out this magnified scope and I can't do it. The maps are just too small for that magnification, and the scope itself, like the stock scopes, are too bulky. Different options for your secondary if you go with the SMG style of this build. I like the Mac 10 or Mark 10. Some people don't. A lot of people have this weird thing about it. It's obviously not the best gun in the game, but all you'll be using it for is to mow down mobs. You're not using it to increase your accuracy or perfect stats or anything. So it works fine enough. That's the loadout in a nutshell. Armor, up to you guys. Try running around with the combined tactical vest. Some heists I will do that if they are more narrow linear maps where I don't have a lot of areas to move or flank, get different types of cover. I'll run with that, but more often than not, lightweight ballistic vest, overkill contracts I can do pretty well with this. Maybe if I'm in a lobby with some lower level people that have some difficulties with going down with frequency, I might throw on heavier armor. But I think I just rambled for 5 hours on this build. Let's go ahead and watch some of the gameplay, and I'm going to talk to you just really briefly about why I've decided to return to Payday 2. The answer, I have 3 reasons, really. The first reason, I wanted to play it again. And I've been jonesing to play this game for about a month now, maybe a little bit more now that I started playing it. It was about a month ago I got the itch to play it. It's kind of around the same time as Hardline, right? I was like, I kind of want to go back and play an actual heisting game, not a BF4 mod. But I decided against it because I told myself, well, it just doesn't feel 100% right, and there's no sense in doing this again, and I'd rather not just rush it. And then a few weeks later, or actually it was kind of around the same time, I got a message from Overkill saying that they wanted to send me something. I haven't gotten anything yet. I'm not sure if they've decided not to send anything, but that kind of furthered my itch to play. And then my buddy reinstalled it. My buddy Winged reinstalled and started playing with one of his dudes, and I was like, oh, I really want to play that again. And then the second reason, guys, one of the common questions now is, Spaz, are you playing this because you want to, or are you playing this because we want you to?
Yeah, can you help me out?
I don't want to say I'm doing this just because you guys want to, because that would be me selling myself out. No, there has to be a mix, right? There has to be beneficial for both people. If I'm playing a game and you guys enjoy watching me playing it, but I'm hating it, I think you guys would say, yeah, stop playing that. But if I'm playing a game that I'm liking, to play again, and you guys like watching it, well, there's a win-win, and it furthers that motivation to create content for you guys to watch. So it is twofold, right? It can't be just one way or the other. And then the third reason, guys, in all honesty, that I started playing again is because I've been doing a lot of changes in my personal life, and I have an idea as to what it is that I want to accomplish in the future. And in order to do that, I have a unique opportunity to play a game that I love and really get active with some of my followers. So it's kind of like it made sense for the channel. Now, am I going to make all my decisions on my channel based because of the channel? No, not at all. I've made that mistake in the past, and is one of the reasons I got burned out with Payday 2. But it has to be part of the decision-making process, right? This channel needs to grow a little bit. I want this channel to grow so that I can do some other things, and Payday 2 is going to help that. And I'm not doing that in a commercial sense. I'm not doing this just to gain subscribers that I could push something else onto. It has nothing to do with that. I feel like I'm in a great place again. Not necessarily great. Some days are better than others. I feel like I'm in a better place moving forward, and it just felt right. And when things feel right, I'm going to start acting on them. And I did, and I'm having some fun. So we'll see where it goes. Right now, I wanted to do this build. There's another one I've been kind of toying around with, some other heists that I might want to go over. I haven't scripted it. I haven't scripted out what I'm going to do. Am I going to do every contract stealth? Probably not. Am I going to I don't know yet, guys. I want it to be organic. I want it to be something that if I create a video like this, I wake up and I'm like, damn, I want to show that to my subscribers. Not a, well, I can mark that one off the checklist. I got it done today. Nothing like that. All right, guys, I rambled for 5 years. I took up your entire week. I apologize. I'll try to make the next one a little bit more brief. Catch you later. Yo.